On environment. Welcome to the second forum on environment and climate change, organized by Embrace the Earth. My name is Kiki Drost. I am Network and Communications Officer here at Embrace the Earth. And it's my honor today to host this session and to introduce not just a brilliant researcher, but also our new colleague, Ridwan. So very excited about your presentation. So Ridwan is a doctoral researcher in ecology at Vrije Universiteit Brussels, VUB, in Belgium, where his research focuses on how large herbivores shape ecosystem dynamics in African savannas and European grasslands. He holds a Bachelor in Science in Applied Ecology from Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, sorry if I mispronounced that, in Nigeria, and an Erasmus Mundus joint Master's in Science degree in Tropical Biodiversity and Ecosystems, completed at Université Libre de Brussels, definitely butchered the French, VUB, and the University of Florence. As part of his Erasmus mobility, he was also a visiting scholar at the University of Malaysia, Terengganu, in 2020. University research between 2021 and 2022, where he worked on how pollen subsidies influence aquatic ecosystem functioning. And beyond academics, Ridwan is currently a project strategist for the Nigerian Montane Forest Project, where he leads a forest-based honey enterprise that blends biodiversity conservation and sustainable livelihoods. So, with that, the digital floor is all yours.
Thank you. You've done pretty well with the pronunciations. Abubakar Jaafar Balewa. Hello and good afternoon. Thank you, Kiki, for the introduction. I'm an ecosystem ecologist, and I also lead the project strategy for the Nigerian Montane Forest Project, which we'll hear a lot about in a bit. So we're a relatively small community-run conservation organization in Nigeria. But as one of my famous line in the TV series Game of Thrones goes, even small men can cast. I think it goes, even small men can cast a big shadow. But I would say even small group of individuals, small organizations can make big impact. So I would like to just walk you through some of the work we've been doing at Gelnyaki Forest Reserve over the past 2 decades on the Mambilla Plateau. It's actually one of the most remote areas in Nigeria, in Taraba State first, which is also one of the most remote states in Nigeria. And my intention is very simple. I don't think I'm going to take an hour. So the intention is to just have a little chat and share some stories of the project and of people. And at the end of the day, it's just to present a very broad overview of the work we've been doing, championing transformative change that is leading to not only biodiversity conservation, but also as well economic and financial inclusion through our community-centered initiatives. So let's get started. So first is just the significance of Afro-Montane forests. What are Afro-Montane forests? They are basically forests on mountains. And as Hooker in the 80s noted, the distinct flora of this forest, many are distributed across African mountains. While they are pretty small, like they're smaller in area than many other, for example, many of our lowland forests, the highlands forests on the plateaus of, for example, in Nigeria and Cameroon border must not be overlooked. They are of great social and ecological importance. They store more carbon per unit area than Amazonian forests. They are also source of fresh water for lowland. They mediate climate and have rich assemblages of flora and fauna with a high proportion of endemic species. About 4,000 Afro-Montane species, which nearly 2/3 are endemic or nearly so. So I'm going to talk broadly, not about like the whole Afro-Montane forests, but basically on one Afro-Montane forest, which is Gelnyaki Forest Reserve on the Mambilla Plateau of Taraba State in Nigeria, where our project is based. For example, Gelnyaki Forest is the most studied and protected mountain forest. Is the most studied and protected of these forests, and its management through the Nigerian Montane Forest Project serves as a stellar model for other such conservation efforts. And some of the endemic species we have include, for example, Egeria gilgai and Zymolus. And so the project now, so the Nigerian Montane Forest Project is founded by Professor Hazel Chapman in 2004, but the story of the project dates back to the 70s actually, based on the work of our father, Jim Chapman, who was a forest officer on the plateau. He was in charge of the forest of Taraba and Adamawa states, which was the then Gongola states in the northeastern Nigeria. And it started with Hazel helping her father write a book and then afterwards she secured funding from World Wildlife Fund and Department of International Development. During when she was, so she used to go to Mambilla during her childhood. She has recollections going there to visit her father during school breaks, but she came back after which is about 2000. So this book actually like started the whole journey of the project, which was registered as an NGO in Nigeria in 2004. But actually it dates back, Hazel's story with Gelnyaki and also with the Mambilla Plateau dates back to the 70s. And so the project was founded in 2004 with the goal of safeguarding Nigeria's rare montane forests. The Nigerian Montane Forest Project has evolved from a remote pilot site into one of Africa's most respected ecosystem restoration models. And our approach is to blend world-class science, community empowerment, and long-term climate strategy. And the project has transformed threatened hillsides into functioning ecosystems. It has upskilled villagers into expert botanists, collectors of scientific data, and IT enumerates. And it is undertaken science that is shaping how Africa understands climate resilience. It's a 20-year of legacy, and we're now looking up like to scale up. And the mission of the Nigerian Montane Forest Project is first to promote national and international commitment to the conservation of Nigeria's montane forests by inspiring excellence in research by postgraduate students and empowering local communities through employment and education. So the aim is to, number one, to combine scientific research with education at both tertiary and community level for sustainable management of Nigeria's montane forests. Secondly, to facilitate the involvement of national and international researchers in Nigerian montane forest research. And thirdly, to involve the community in the management of montane forest ecosystems. And finally, to work with the community in other ways, such as developing small businesses and working with schools to develop conservation awareness. And what I'll try to do is to take each part of these objectives and to highlight what we've been doing over the last 20 years. So the Nigerian Montane Forest field site is based right at the edge of Gelnyaki Forest, and it's run almost completely by the local communities. It's surrounded by about 10 communities, and the community are major stakeholders in our project. In all the research and the activities we do, we make sure that the community is at the center of all our initiatives. We have 4 pillars as our primary objectives, each of which is sustainable and directly is aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And through, for example, through our forest ecology and conservation work, the project is benefiting the communities by creating jobs, bringing international partnerships and funding to the region. And as well, the project is reducing poverty and inequality. It is improving education and creating economic opportunities for these underserved communities. And it's just this are just some images from one of the big communities, I would say, Yelwa village. So it's one of the communities surrounding the forest. So it's actually the access community into our field station. It's just about 15 minutes or 20 minutes walk from this village. And so the first pillar, which is sustainable employment. So as I mentioned earlier, it's just to share some stories instead of talking about what we've been doing and just lots of talks, but it's better, I realize, to when I'm giving a talk, to show real examples, which is what better way to show examples than to share stories of impact, right? So all these individuals you can see on the screen are from the community, and they are trained and integrated into the economy through the project. For example, Augustine here on the top left with the seedlings there, our nursery officer. So Augustine has been sent on a silviculture course and manages our tree planting nursery. On the next slide, on the top image, is Hamosumo and Peter collecting data on phenology and plant taxonomy. Idrisa with the laptop here, it's now trained in photography and data entry, and Usman has been trained in IT and weather station data management. All this expertise through the University of Canterbury researchers in New Zealand. So what is very interesting about these individuals or these stories, most of them, all of them, have no formal education. Like they had only basic primary schools, and some of them have not even completed secondary education, let alone to go on to colleges or universities. These were trained expert botanists, some are expert IT, and then some are experts in terms of like conservationists, I would say. And this is one of the stories here on the MISA with Hazel. So MISA has no formal education, but through the project, he's our site manager at the moment. So MISA manages more than 55 staff. Now, the full station, it's always full up. The project has trained over 50 postgraduate students in conservation science, giving them access and opportunities to international funding, research and training expertise, and as well world-class facilities that we have right at the edge of the forest. We have also hosted and trained over 120 undergraduate trainee students across Nigerian universities in conservation science, and the numbers are growing year on year. Many postgraduate students, many of them are Nigerians and as well internationals, all develop skills bringing conservation and agro ecosystem to the fore. For example, we have Kelly Hudson, Ihum Jerome, and Ivy. Ivy is also like she's done her PhD based on the forests from the University of Canterbury. She's a lecturer now at the University of Jos, and she also manages our Smithsonian plot, and she's also she sits on the senior management team of the project. So you have students trained, do the research and come back to work and also like contribute to the project. Besides Ivy, myself as well, I was one of the undergraduate students during my undergraduate years. I did an internship I came back after my undergraduates, and now I'm still involved with the project. And it tells you how important that project is and how impactful it is to young Nigerians. So our staff, as I mentioned, they are all from local communities, and all of them have bank accounts through financial inclusion. So many of them have moved on through the project, training to bigger things. Some of them have moved on to bigger jobs, to bigger roles, but the project was the breeding ground, I would say, for them. It's the first to offer such opportunities. And when I mentioned all of them have bank accounts, you'd wonder, why should I mention like having bank accounts? Because like it's a very remote area. It's one of the remotest states, I think, remotest area, I think, in Nigeria. And so how it works, I mean, how it is now, I'm not sure if any of you have been to like remote or have known, like you know how remote areas are. So you don't have banks usually in those communities. They are usually cut off from maybe development projects or even formal economic vehicle. So, but with our project, we open bank accounts to them. We try to like formalize all like everything. And the project, for example, at the moment, train and employ over 50 staff at any one time. Many have moved on through training to bigger things, as I said, and allowing us to employ and upskill further community members. So it doesn't only stop at the 50. So did I skip a slide? No. Okay. So this is one of our flagship projects, or one of the projects I'm leading at the moment, and I felt I should bring it up this very early on. So Gelnyaki literally means in Fulfulde language, one of the local language there. So Gelnyaki literally means place of the bees forest, and it's a home to large bee populations. And the project now sees a significant opportunity to generate income from the Gelnyaki communities, as well as for the project from the harvesting, processing, and sale of honey. And there is very large local demand. Nigeria needs honey. Currently, I think we produce less than 3% of our needs. And there is also very huge global demands for unadulterated, residue-free honey of forest origin, especially in Europe. And so we thought that by creating a honey agribusiness enterprise based on the forest, our initiative, which is this initiative, will be in the position to better support the Gelnyaki communities and also the forest, which supports the bees. So we are creating decent work and economic growth. We are creating a productive employment, including for women and young people. Our honey agribusiness enterprise will empower 10 communities, local communities surrounding the forest, to earn income from honey and other products. The project will buy and process the honey produced and on-sell it to Abuja and Lagos, which are the economic hub of Nigeria, with potential to export into the European market, allowing us to become increasingly self-sufficient, self-sustainable. We are also mobilizing resources at the moment from a variety of sources to scale up this venture, and the goal is to end poverty in all its dimensions. And we're very open and welcoming partners to join us. And I think maybe I should mention like the model. So we started thinking about this idea for a very long time. We went through the grant route or the philanthropy, but at the moment we're trying to look inwards to see how we can develop a private business that not only benefits or provides income to investors, but as well we have like forest dividends. So about 15 or 10 or 15 or 20% of the gross will be financed, would come back to the project to support conservation, scientific research, and other community initiatives that I'm going to mention, for example, in education programs. And then what we envision with this project is to improve revenue for community members, which is about increase of about 1 to 2 million naira. So what we hope to achieve at the end with this honey enterprise, beyond profit, about 15 of the earnings goes back to fund pollination research, restoration, and education programs, and not least keeping kids like these kids you see on your screen, who should ideally be in school, off the roads from hawking honey by the roadside to travelers. So how it works now, if you go to Mambilla Plateau, you see kids like this lined up on the street selling honey to travelers on the road in cars. So like traveling vehicles will stop by and buy honey they usually stop maybe around checkpoints, police checkpoints. So when you formalize this venture, when you empower their mothers or their elders or their parents, they work in the factory, they process the honey. So these kids would be taken off automatically off the road. They go back to school. And the second pillar, besides economic empowerment or employment, it's education and research. The project has built and upgrade education facilities that provide safe, inclusive, and effective learning environment. In 2009, typically an example is this nursery school, the ESO school in Yelwa village. The project has built this local nursery school in the village that is bordering Gelnyaki Forest Reserve. And the project continue to maintain the school and engage our industrial trainee students to teach at these schools, and not only at ESO school, but also other primary and secondary schools in Yelwa. And we also have conservation clubs in these schools. So the project most enduring legacy, maybe it's people that you've seen some of them, and over 250 Nigerian students have trained at Gelnyaki Forests to date, including 15 PhDs and 17 MScs. Many now lecture at Nigerian universities or hold conservation positions in Nigeria. The project also built the region's first environmental school, which is the nursery school I just talked about, and it hosts annual outreach events. This work builds on pipeline of stewards rooted in science and place. These are just some of the stats. And besides the stats, I said I'm going to be sharing some personal stories, right? So this is Bashir on the left of the screen. So Bashir was a pupil at the ESO school I mentioned earlier. So he's one of 36 children as the first intake. And through our school and scholarship, now Bashir has an MSc and currently works for the project as assistant science coordinator. So it's from that village. He was given the opportunity to be in, like, it's the only nursery school in the village. Usually you have primary schools and secondary schools. You don't have nursery schools. So this is the story of Bashir now with the kids in conservation, like from the conservation club. And the third pillar is international partnerships. And we're also enhancing international support for implementing effective and targeted capacity building to support national plans to implement sustainable inclusive growth and development, and as well financial inclusion. For example, the project has invested heavily in local infrastructure, including the Science Outreach Center, an arboretum, an orchid house, and herbarium, all on the field station. And the community uses these facilities and resources regularly. We are involved in numerous international networks and collaborations, including, for example, the Smithsonian Long-Term Ecological Research Project. It's a forest geoplot and is used for Nigeria's carbon mapping and accounting. It was thanks to the support of retired General T.Y. Danjuma that provided this funding to establish the plot. And these are the plot surveyors during setting up of the plot in 2016. And these are the team, the Smithsonian team, we call them, with David Kenfak from Smithsonian Institute in the US. And the fourth pillar, it's biodiversity conservation. We are ensuring the conservation of montane ecosystems, which are the Afro-Montane ecosystems, including that biodiversity, to enhance their capacity to promote benefits that are essential for sustainable development by restoring forests that has been burnt, grazed, and generally degraded. We can increase, for example, habitat and resources for wildlife and humans, increase carbon storage and maintain and increase pure water supplies. All these are ecosystems services that the forest provides. To date, we have planted over 70,000 native trees across 40 hectares. We are providing incentives to the community to advance conservation and reforestation. Now, the project has support from the community who view the reserve as a source of income and long-term prosperity. The project has also run active conservation clubs for children and young people. So you see, these kids each year we plant trees in our restoration plots, and we invite these children to partake in tree planting. So from an early age, so the guys lined up with Hazel in the yellow t-shirts from our football club from one of the local community, the Elua. So the project also supports this football club. We fund it, and then because this is one way to also get to young people, especially in Nigeria, football is very big. And this allows the whole community to be involved in tree planting, promoting connection and ownership over the long term, success of the project and survival of the forest. And this is what the research station looked like in 2006 when it was first built on the top left. And this is what it's looking like recently in 2016. So you've seen the forest is coming back. And these trees were all planted through active tree planting. Our long-term scientific data contributes to understanding of forest dynamics in a changing climate. And Gilnyaki Forest today is one of the most studied montane forests in Nigeria. We have researchers coming from all over the world, from France, from Germany, from the UK, from New Zealand, from the US, within Africa, Cameroon and other African countries, and within Nigeria as well. You have researchers, professors coming to collect data and do research. And on the Hamasumo and Ali that Hamasumo that I just mentioned earlier in the previous, it's here. It's also checking 2,000 trees for leaf fall leaf flush, flowers, and fruits every month. And this is 15 years of data. So here, I would like to just show how Gelnyaki Forest produces a cascade of benefits from climate regulation, water security, biodiversity conservation. The forest harbor endemic amphibians, birds, and plants that occur nowhere else, protecting the habitat therefore safeguards an irreplaceable ecological functions and biodiversity. And finally, agricultural services such as pollination, pest control, and nutrient-rich sediments all flow from healthy forest cover, sustaining smallholder farming that underpins local food production and food security in Nigeria. So just a bit, I think I was having a conversation earlier, I think with Kiki about carbon storage. So Gelnyaki Forest, carbon storage of Gelnyaki Forest is measured, peer-reviewed, and is published in scientific journals, including the prestigious Nature journal. A recent study has shown that high plateau forests of the Nigerian-Cameroon border, like Gelnyaki Forest, store more carbon per unit area than Amazonian forests. And at average 2024 voluntary carbon market rate, the estimate market value of total carbon stored in just 7.2 square kilometer of the Gelnyaki forest is worth around $4.76 million. So these are some values on the carbon, like the 120 tons of carbon per hectare. This is higher than IPCC default and comparable to Africa's richest forest. And then the total carbon stored in just 7.2 square kilometers, it's about 317,000 CO ton. Just now heading towards concluding. So what have we achieved in terms of saving the forest? Number one, Gelnyaki Forest is relatively safe, embedded in Taraba State Science Budget, and well recognized by federal government and international partners. It is well known internationally, and if anything happened to the forest, I think there would be an outcry. We have learned so much about the forest structure and function and how to best effect reforestation. And we have contributed to forest ecology globally by contributing unique data from the Smithsonian plot and also from other researches that have been carried out, that was carried out by the project, by our students and collaborators. The project is an education center for PhD students, for MSc and undergraduate and school children. It is an important economic asset to the community, employing over, I think, 55, 36 people. It gives back to the community in other ways, such as the nursery school, the beekeeping initiative, and teaching into schools. And what I would like to conclude with, it's just share some words about the project from, for example, Amina Mohammed, who is the current Deputy Director General of United Nations and was the former Minister of Environment in Nigeria. And I just quote what she said: "The Nigerian Montane Forest in Gelnyaki Forest on the Mambilla Plateau empowers young people. This gives joy." And the words of Tasso Leventis, who is our board chairman: "We are all impressed by the breadth, variety, and output quality of the project research and science. Good news, too, about the extent and effectiveness of your local initiatives, and in particular, the focus on education and health." So thank you for listening, and thanks so much for the amazing images. I hope I didn't exceed the time.
No, that was brilliant. Thank you so much for that presentation. I think that is yeah, it's very nice to hear so much about this project. Such an amazing project that has so many different aspects in it. And it's nice to see something that is being done on the ground. Does anyone in the audience have any questions for you? I definitely have one or two, but I want to give a chance to someone else before.
Thank you, Ridwan. Thank you so much. It was a very good presentation. And I have some few questions, but I think already you answered all my questions that I had before. But I would like just to know, like, the honey project. It's the only business that you can say that the organization have well, it's the only one that fundraise the organization. I know that also government helps, and maybe some other institutions, but like business that the organization has itself is just the honeybee, right?
Sorry, I didn't get. So you're asking about the honey, if it's the only product we have,
Yeah.
or it's supported by government or what?
No, if the project of honeybee with the sales that you get, it's the only business or that you the organization have on side.
Yeah, so it's not just honey, so we're just starting up on the honey business, but also in the long term we have like a business plan that we developed, and it's going to be in phases. We start with the raw mountain honey, which is a high quality honey that we target maybe luxury markets, but also in the chain, maybe in the first or second year of production, we are going to expand to include, for example, lemongrass infused honey from the local flora, like which acts like a citrus nuts to the honey. But as well, now we're experimenting. We're collaborating with I think Department of Product Design at the University of Canterbury in New Zealand, and we're experimenting a product like a face cream product with one of the native plants that we have on at Galnyaki. So we're going to combine, for example, beeswax with the leaf of that native plant, which has an anti-aging and anti-retinal properties. So it's going to be these products that we are going to pursue. So the raw honey, lemongrass infused honey, and this face cream.
And I'm sorry, do you know just by any chance how many people the product of the honey is benefiting now?
Now, so we've already established a cooperative. So the locals formed a cooperative that we work with. So these guys were trained. We trained them. We sent some of them recently to training in the capital, like on modern beekeeping techniques, and they go back to train others as well. So it's going to be the potential, there is potential for expansion or for scaling up. It's not just even communities within our reserve. So with time, we see that we can actually scale this up to other communities on the plateau as well. But for now, it's the Girinyaki communities, which are about 10 communities.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Can I ask, just it's a little bit outside of the project, but it was about the Afro-Montane forests. So you showed a map at the start, and I think if I remember correctly, most of the like areas that were singled out were like along the Great Rift Valley. Do you know like why Nigeria also has a little bit of that then when the rest is all
on the other side? Yeah, it's mostly on the on the Nigerian Cameroon border. You see the and as I think I mentioned that they're pretty small in size compared to the other Afro-Montane, like on the rift. So, but they hold like a lot of endemic species, like plants, amphibians, and birds.
Okay, because yeah, I was just wondering how similar are they? Like what makes these types of forests unique? Was what you presented kind of true for all of them, or is that very specifically like this forest?
I think it's unique for the Nigerian Cameroon mountain forest, and I'm not sure about the others, but I think should be pretty much the same. And I think about the 4,000 plant species, I think it's across. It's not just the one specific to Nigeria and Cameroon, but also like the Afro-Montane generally. So it's pretty much, I think, the same.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions still in the audience? Or any comments, any discussion points? No, I was just wondering because you kind of went into it a little bit, but because you also mentioned how it encourages women and children to participate in the projects, but then a lot of the pictures were of men, all the IT experts and photographers. So like, is it just by helping with income and then sending the children to school, or are there also, or is it actively also targeting women to encourage them in the project?
Yeah, so we have women as well. I think in the Smithsonian team we have about 3 or 4 women. So we also have not a lot of women though, in terms of like the staff, but we do have little women. But what we try to do with the business now, it's target mostly women, because if you're going to set up like a facility, you should have so what we are hoping to do now, setting up this facility hopefully end of this year or early next year, is to target 60% women.
Okay.
Yeah. And sorry, and they are also beekeepers, or they are just like maybe they are participating in another kind of thing?
No, yeah, they're participating in the process, and I think the beekeepers are mostly men. So on the plateau, women actually do go to farm, so you find women farming, but so they are not they also farm, but mostly it's men that maybe saturate the beekeeping.
It's very heavy work, so
Pardon, sorry?
that's a very heavy work.
It's very heavy work. I think there's a picture you see with the Mambilla basket, some women carrying, and they climb up the road, the terrain. It's difficult terrain, but you see them going up and into the farm. It's a heavy work.
All right. Final call for questions. Otherwise, I think no. Then I think I'm going to say thank you so much, Ridwan. That was very insightful. Thank you for your time, everyone. Thank you for attending. And yeah, hope to see you at the sessions tomorrow as well. We're back with 3 more presentations. So hope to see everyone there.
Thank you. It was really interesting. Goodbye.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Bye-bye.
Ridwan. Okay, bye. Thank you, Kiki.